You sit down at your desk, you open your notebook, you tell yourself, okay, this time I'm really going to focus. And somehow, your phone becomes the most fascinating object in the universe. Just one more video. Maybe I should grab a snack first. Wait, do I even need this degree? Maybe I should just disappear and start a farm somewhere. If that sounds familiar, you're not lazy, you're human. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people aren't bad at learning. They're just using a system that drains their brain instead of activating it. They sit for hours. They reread the same pages. They highlight half the textbook. And when it's time to actually use the information, it's gone. But what if learning could feel lighter, faster, almost unfair? Not because you're cutting corners, faster, but because you're finally working with your brain instead of against it. The first shift is understanding this. Your brain expands tasks to fill the time you give it. If you say, I'm going to study for 3 hours, your brain will pace itself for 3 hours. It will wander, it will procrastinate, it will conserve energy. But if you say, I'm studying for 20 minutes, that's it. Something changes. 20 minutes feels manageable. It feels safe. And when something feels small, your brain stops resisting. Instead of dragging yourself into long sessions, shrink the time. Set a short, clear window. Be specific about what you're covering. Not study biology, but review photosynthesis and test myself on the steps. Clarity reduces friction, and reduced friction increases speed. Well, then there's another quiet truth most students ignore. Not everything matters equally. In almost every subject, a small portion of the material drives most of the results. Yet people treat every paragraph like it deserves equal attention. They drown in details. Instead, ask a better question. If I had to master only 20% of this material to get most of the results, what would it be? Look at past exams. Look at recurring themes. Look at the core principles. Focus there first, because learning everything evenly feels productive, but focusing strategically feels powerful. Another secret? Use urgency without waiting for a real deadline. You've probably noticed something strange. When a deadline is close, your focus sharpens. Distractions fade. Your brain locks in. That's not magic, it's pressure. You can create that pressure on purpose. Set a timer for 30 minutes. Work like the clock is chasing you. No phone, no switching tabs, just one task. When the timer ends, step away for 5 minutes. Walk, stretch, breathe, then come back. Short bursts protect your focus. And knowing a break is coming keeps your brain cooperative. But speed without understanding is useless. So here's where most people miss the real upgrade. If you want to learn fast, you have to test yourself. Not reread, not highlight, is test. Close the book and ask, what do I remember? Write it down, say it out loud. Teach it to an imaginary 5-year-old. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it yet. And that's not failure, that's feedback. This is why teaching, even to yourself, is so powerful. When you explain something in plain language, yet your brain reorganizes the information. It connects gaps. It exposes confusion. And once you rebuild it clearly, it sticks. Another powerful shift is something called active recall. Most people study passively. They look at notes. They nod along. They feel familiar with the material. But familiarity isn't mastery. Recognition is not the same as recall. Active recall forces your brain to retrieve information without looking. That retrieval strengthens memory. It's like lifting weights for your mind. It feels harder. But that difficulty is exactly what builds strength. Instead of reading a chapter twice, read once, then close the book and write everything you remember. Then check the gaps. That small change can double retention. And here's something even more overlooked. Your brain doesn't manage to solidify learning while you're studying. It does it while you're sleeping. Sleep isn't laziness. It's consolidation. When you cut sleep to study more, you're sabotaging the very process that turns effort into memory. 7 to 8 hours isn't indulgence. It's strategy. Movement helps too. A short walk increases blood flow. More oxygen reaches your brain. Clarity returns. Sometimes the fastest way to learn isn't pushing harder. It's stepping away briefly so your brain can reset. When you combine all of this, something surprising happens. You study less, but you retain more. You feel lighter, less drained, more confident. Learning stops feeling like survival. It starts feeling like momentum. And here's the deeper truth beneath all of it. Fast learning isn't about being gifted. It's about removing friction, reducing wasted effort, eliminating passive habits, designing sessions that demand engagement. You don't need more willpower, you need structure. Short focus blocks, strategic prioritization, self-testing, teaching, sleep, movement. None of this is dramatic. None of it feels extreme. But stacked together, it creates acceleration. And acceleration feels almost unfair. Because while others are rereading the same page for the third time, you're retrieving, applying, and strengthening. While others burn out, you reset and return sharper. Learning fast isn't about cheating the system. It's about understanding how the system actually works. So the next time you sit down to study, don't ask, how long should I suffer through this? Ask, how can I make this session focused, active, and intentional? Shrink the time, sharpen the goal, test yourself, teach it back, protect your sleep. You don't need to work harder. You need to work aligned with your brain. If this helped you see learning differently, subscribe to the channel. We're building smarter habits, sharper focus, and real personal growth here. And the more you understand how your mind works, the faster everything else in your life begins to move.